It's got look. We're doing Mission Hill, but we're also doing Fenway. So we know this is a lesson learned for those of you who are familiar with the Grove Hall project. The lesson that we've learned from it. Uh-oh, did I commit a faux pas?
No, no, no.
The lesson that we've learned there is that we have to engage everybody. So they're going to be very young, tech-savvy people who are students who are living in the Fenway who are going to be our volunteer base.
Excuse me a sec.
Who are going to be very engaged by this network. There are going to be small businesses who we can help with things like transaction processing, who we can help with things like local advertising to do promote their business. There are going to be low-income community that we've talked about, and I guess I started with the low-income community, so I may have given the impression that this was a network that was just for that purpose, but it's really a citywide network, and we're building Fenway at the same time that we're building Mission Hill.
So what kind of pushback do you get from throughout the convention server? I can afford the $50,000, but
I think that remains to be seen.
Yeah, honestly, we talk about it and we've had very open and honest conversations with those entities. There's not this huge clamoring and enormous pushback. It's just a question about understanding how everybody's business model can properly coexist. We really look forward to having great relationships with those enterprises. I think when I've talked a bit about this in other environments, we're just so we're not the phone company. We're not the cable company. We were engaged by our colleagues from the city. We were engaged by you all and people who live in Boston and surrounding areas to say, who have said, let's all get together and build ourselves a network. It's the furthest thing from the phone company. It's the furthest thing. So I think there's lots of wonderful opportunities to build together, learn together, share together. I was very encouraged.
Thank you very much.
Good job, guys. I was very encouraged by what Aaron said about the ISPs really getting that they get early information about top-notch routing protocol and how they might anticipate putting it on the network. I think the sky's the limit. We have not even begun to look at how well we're going to be working together with these enterprises.
I want to talk briefly about some of the innovation stuff and just wrap up. If there aren't any more, I didn't see any more hands. So, the innovation piece, Aaron. One of the things that has happened in Austria and elsewhere in Europe is that this network has really become a test bed for all sorts of very interesting, innovative projects around wireless networking. They're doing all sorts of tests of different protocols. There's now, another protocol that's emerged in Berlin called Berkman. That so they're now almost competing camps. So Vienna likes one protocol, Berlin likes the other, and there's people are really engaged and they're creating innovative ideas because this network exists. So one of the key things that this page is about is that this slide is about is that once you have the network, then people are going to come together and create innovative solutions, and that's something that can be leveraged by the great universities in the Boston area, and it can be something of a bottom-up process that the network exists, people come in and help us out with some of the innovation. These are students at universities, perhaps. The professors become interested, and our ultimate goal is to have a wireless innovation center that really does top-notch research, and that is done with a collaboration of multiple universities in the area. So these are just a list of applications, and as you can see, there are applications that are for a wide variety of different groups. There's applications for businesses. There are applications for students who are very tech savvy. There are applications that are great for people who have not used computers very much. One key thing that we really want to do is we really want to do a great captive portal solution so that you log into the network, you hit this captive portal, it's a great community site, and we can have things like who's on the network, what's their connection to the network like, We can do some different exchanges between users. We can do exchanges between the users and the managers of the network, so they let us know what we need to do to improve the network. Nonprofits can use this to advertise events. Businesses can use it, and this may be part of our business model, that businesses can, sponsor little ads on the network, etc. Aaron really talked about VoIP as a killer app. That's a big priority for us. Video surveillance is a very interesting application. Very low cost access to video surveillance that you can, if you think your store is being vandalized, you can watch it at night. That's something that the community in Mission Hill might really take to. And Fenway as well. I don't want to.
I struggle every time we generate a list like that, because really we're trying to say that we want to go through and learn this, so it changes every time we go and sit and talk to people, because the truth is we're really not necessarily the application providers. We're really trying to be an enabler of ideas. So anybody who wants to throw some ideas on the board there, we're all ears.
These are more traditional applications of a wireless network. You walk down the Avenue of the Arts in the Fenway, and you want to see where the best place to park is, what the hours are for the Museum of Fine Arts. My favorite that I bring up at every meeting, because I absolutely hate it, is I want to know where the 66 bus is, because it's never on schedule, and it's freezing cold outside. And if I could get an alert like 3 minutes before and run out, that would be fantastic.
I don't even know why I need to go to the big box where the bus comes. Why doesn't it go where me and my best friends are standing? The little snake.
Yeah.
All about approaching the utilities. So one thing that's happening, particularly with the electric grid, is we're moving to
Help you.
advanced
Oh,
meter
please.
infrastructure. And believe it or not, they're not necessarily use the power lines as a way to
No problem.
meters. They're often using other things like Wi-Fi. That might be a vehicle as a fairly low balance application. It might be a vehicle that you can piggyback on in certain areas or something like that. It might be a partnership that we can strike on these kind of things.
Yeah, I absolutely want to try to get out to the utilities. We've had a conversation recently with Boston Housing Authority. We envisioned a mesh network to provide an amenity of internet access for the patrons of housing development. You can also imagine that they really pay an awful lot for heating of the public areas, and really, you might keep your temperature at 68. You might have it at 85 and have the window open. It'd be nice to actually get some sensors and monitor what's going on. So I think there's a huge opportunity on the mesh to do some very, very basic revenue measurement. So if anybody has any great connections at NSTAR. Oh, hang on, a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
I'm just curious, how long has this network been up and running? Do you have any numbers in terms of how well it's going?
So the
Evaluation?
no, and we should really state that we're very, very early in the Fenway Mission Hill. There's a network about a mile built that Gabe alluded to earlier in Grove Hall that's been up about a year and a half or so. The numbers of initial interest were very, very peaked in the initial phase, and this is one of the ones that is trying to look at a low-cost model, but the cost structure was represented for a variety of reasons. The usership went way down, so we're trying to reevaluate that. The Fenway and Mission Hill area is very, very new. There's just a few nodes up and running in Fenway, and as the weather is starting to get nicer, we're going to look to explode that really, really quickly with open mesh devices.
Okay. Can I just run through? We have just a little closing slide here. And that's just to say, yeah, we'd love to work with Berkman to see, what we can do in terms of, using the network as a platform for research, in terms of developing grants, research initiatives.
I put the Cadet rooftops we can use in there.
Yeah, the key thing right now, obviously a network that's being run by the community requires volunteers. So I have a sign-up sheet here that's for our mailing list. We have an announce list. We have a tech discuss list. The tech discussion list is pretty low volume. I'll pass it around again. It got passed around before we started. And we also have a little box for volunteers. But, we have, as I alluded to earlier, we have opportunities for people to help us in all areas. They could be helping us with programs to train people, to hand out notes to people in low-income areas. It could be helping us with the technology. We really want to build a great software development team here in Boston, great wireless radio team in Boston. These are things that have developed in Europe. There's no reason we can't have them here. And we also need the kind of help that every other organization needs, in terms of fundraising, in terms of marketing, in terms of, sort of mundane stuff. Our biggest stumbling block has been working with private buildings to get spots on roofs. This is one place where Aaron's approach of, very much, accepting people as they come in has he's been very convenient for him. As we go in and try to plan to build an area at a time, we have to approach these private landlords. I don't know how many of you are there any property owners here? Any building landlords, I should say? Okay. Other than the people in this room, I would say that property owners are not only very difficult people who love to, they're so concerned about liability, and they're just very difficult to reach, and it's just been a stumbling block for us. And as our organization grows, we'll be better equipped to handle these landlords and to say, all right, you have such and such insurance requirements. We can really, we're now large enough that we can meet those.
Maybe even the broad category, we talk about rooftop access and stuff, but just really the broad category of liability insurance for a small nonprofit in this kind of business is very eye-opening.
But anyway, I say all this. I'm sorry.
You might want to try and going in, take your list of advantages, go to the landlord and say, if you had this wireless here, this is the type of advantages you can offer to the people in your building.
Yeah.
And so you turn it from a liability into a benefit for them, and that they could then charge additional money.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly tried to talk about, does this benefit property values, and hopefully we'll make some headway. We're working, for example, we really want to cover the Christian Science Plaza in the Fenway. It's a wonderful public space, and the Christian Science Church and the Mary Baker Eddy, one of those library, they really get that this is something. There are people who are coming to this space. They may be students, they may be elderly people who are sort of congregating. There are people who could really benefit from this, and it makes it a better experience. Having the plaza a better experience, and it helps them. Not all landlords see it that way, and we do need to do a better job of being more explicit. I think that's really a great idea. But I just want to say that. All that by way of saying that if you happen to own any buildings in Fenway or Mission Hill, just please let me know. And that's our contact information. I don't know, Brian, if you have any closing words there.
Yep, we're on our website. We're Twitter, Facebook stuff is out there. We really do hope to create a social model of networking, so people out there on Twitter can tell us where the signal is strong and where it's not so strong. So we can move forward in a different sort of way. With that, I really, really, really want to thank you all for coming and listening to us. And we've gone over time. I appreciate your indulgence.
Our emails are brian@openairboston. Okay, you clap first. Brian@openairboston.net, Gabe@openairboston.net.